If you are a first-time visitor to Rocky Mountain National Park, there are definitely some things that you won't want to miss. And so today I wanted to talk to you about the top 12 things to do in Rocky Mountain National Park, especially as a first-time visitor. So let's dig in and talk all about my favorite spots in this park. My name is Ash, and I'm a former park ranger. I do spend a lot of time in Rocky Mountain National Park, but this list is a collection of all the things that I have done in the park over the years and narrowed it down to my favorite things and things that I think that you definitely shouldn't miss and that will give you a really well-rounded experience while you're in Rocky Mountain. So you can rest assured if you can get to all 12 of these things during your trip, you will have seen the best of Rocky and really had a great time. Okay, so the first thing that you definitely don't want to miss is the Trail Ridge Road. And the Trail Ridge Road is basically, it's just the main road that goes through the park. But what's amazing about it is that it actually is the highest continuously paved road in the United States. So this road is insane. It will blow your mind because it takes you up into the mountains and you hit actually higher than 12,000 feet above sea level. By road. It's crazy. You don't even have to hike up there. You can drive to 12,000 feet above sea level. And so what's really cool about this road as well is that 11 miles of it are above 11,000 feet. And so you are up high. You're in that beautiful tundra wilderness that just a lot of people don't even know exists, or, something that is typically pretty hard to get to in the mountains because you're at such a high elevation. And here in Rocky, you can drive up here. So it's a really cool road, and it's definitely something that you'll want to drive along as you are exploring Rocky Mountain National Park. Okay, so looking at a map, the Trail Ridge Road basically connects Estes Park over here to Grand Lake over here. So it's this road that goes through just the middle of Rocky. And from Estes, you're just climbing. You're going up a couple of switchbacks. About when you get past Rainbow Curve over here, that's when it will really start feeling different. That's when you hit the tundra. You'll notice the trees just kind of stop. They just disappear. And then through this stretch up here, this is where you're in that tundra area that is just so high. Your high point on the road is right here before you get to the Alpine Visitor Center. And what's really cool is there's just a lot of things to do along this road. And so it's really ideal if you can take, at least a half a day or so to drive along the road and to just stop as you get to these various viewpoints. There's some trails, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. There are some things you definitely don't want to miss along this road. But then you get to the Alpine Visitor Center, and then you'll descend back down into the other side of the mountains over here. And so it's just a really cool road. It's definitely something you don't want to miss. You will want to note that because this road reaches such a high elevation, it does not stay fully open year round. So if you're wanting to drive all the way up and see the whole road during your trip, you'll want to plan a trip between June and September. Number 2, Emerald Lake. Emerald Lake is a beautiful alpine lake. It is surrounded by cliffs. It's very dramatic. But what I like about this one as well is that most people can hike to this lake. It's not too long of a trail, about a little over 3 miles round trip. But you also pass 2 different lakes along the way. And so, you don't have to go all the way up to Emerald Lake if you don't want to. You'll be hiking in the trees. You'll pass by these lakes. It's just so beautiful and such a fun, rocky experience. Okay, so looking at the map again, the Emerald Lake Trail is up here and it's along the Bear Lake Road, and you'll actually park up here at the Bear Lake Trailhead and start from there. And then again, you'll hit 3 different lakes along this trail. And so as you're hiking up here, first you'll get to Nymph Lake, and then you'll get to Dream Lake, and then you'll get to Emerald Lake. And what's nice is they're all about a half a mile apart, and so it really breaks up the trail nicely. You can hike this trail and see a different lake every half mile or so. And so that's really nice, especially if you're hiking with like younger kids, but you want to do a really cool hike. We found that it helps to be able to stop at each lake and take a little rest and have a beautiful view with our younger kids. And so that's why this is a trail that you definitely don't want to miss. Number 3, the Tundra Communities Trail. So the Tundra Communities Trail is really cool because it is on those higher elevation areas of the Trail Ridge Road, and it takes you through that tundra landscape. And as you're hiking through the tundra, there are informational panels that you can read so you can learn more about the plants and animals that live up here and just how amazing this tundra wilderness area of the park really is. I really love this trail in the park because I feel like that's something that really sets Rocky Mountain apart, is the fact that you can drive to its high tundra area. And so it's just really cool to walk through here and learn more about the plants and animals that call this area home. Plus, you know, you're up so high in the mountains and it's beautiful. You're surrounded by beautiful peaks, and it's just a really nice, flat, paved, easy trail that everybody can do, and you can learn something along the way. To get to the Tundra Communities Trail, you will drive along the Trail Ridge Road up here, and then you'll find the parking lot right here, right across from the rock cut viewing area. And so there is a fair amount of parking right here, and then you just hike up the hill along the Tundra Communities Trail. I do want to note that there are a few other really cool tundra hikes if you're looking for something that's not quite as established, hikes that aren't paved. And so I do include some information about my favorite one in my Rocky Mountain itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes. But if you are looking to get out to somewhere that's quieter and not as well known, that's an option. But if not, and you're just hoping to get a really nice introduction to the tundra, then the Tundra Communities Trail is perfect. Number 4, Alberta Falls. One thing that I love about Rocky is that it does have some pretty great waterfalls, and Alberta Falls is one of the most popular. It's a great one. It's a really nice trail for families, and it's just a fun experience to get out to a waterfall in Rocky Mountain National Park. So this trail is really great for first timers. It's a really good trail to do if you are still acclimatizing to the high elevations of Rocky and hoping to not get altitude sickness. You're still at a pretty high elevation, but the trail is relatively easy. It's only a little bit over 1.5 mile round trip. It gains 200 feet of elevation, but it's a really nice trail for first timers or young families, or for you if you're just trying to, again, acclimatize to the higher elevations of this park. The waterfall itself is really pretty, and the trail does keep going beyond the waterfall to some really amazing longer hikes in Rocky, and so this area is very popular both for people who are going just to Alberta Falls, but then also for people who are hiking beyond to places like Sky Pond or something like that. So it does stay really busy, but it is a really fun little trail for a family. You will find Alberta Falls along the Bear Lake Road down here, and there's a few different ways to start this trail. You can park at the Glacier Gorge trailhead and start it from there, or you can park up at Bear Lake, and then there's a little connecting trail that will take you down to this area, and then you can hike the trail from there. Number 5, the Forest Canyon Overlook. There are a few overlooks along the Trail Ridge Road that you definitely won't want to miss, and the Forest Canyon is probably my favorite. This one is just so dramatic. You're on the edge of a cliff. You can see some lakes across the way. You just have beautiful mountain views. Your view of Long's Peak is just incredible, and so it's one of my favorite stops along the Trail Ridge Road. What's really cool about Forest Canyon, so the Forest Canyon Overlook, you're like up above it and you're looking down into Forest Canyon. And Forest Canyon, although it's like tucked right into some of the busiest areas of the park, there actually are like no official trails that go through this canyon. And so it's just so wild. It's crazy that there's a place just right there next to all the busy stuff that people really haven't touched. And so it's really fun to look down into here. It's just a canyon full of tons of trees. And then again, if you look at the mountains across the way, you can see some like hanging lakes, some higher elevation lakes up in the mountains over there. It's just a really, really beautiful spot. So looking at a map, again, the Forest Canyon Overlook is along the Trail Ridge Road. So you'll come up over here and your Forest Canyon Overlook parking area is just right here. And you are, again, you're kind of above that tree line that kind of ends right over in here. And so you're up in that tundra wilderness area that is just so beautiful. And then you're looking down into Forest Canyon, which is right down in here. Number 6, Chasm Falls. So here's another waterfall in Rocky that's really cool. I love Chasm Falls, mostly because, yes, it is picturesque. But it's not very big. But the reason that I really like it is because it takes you along the Old Fall River Road to get to this waterfall, which is just a really cool part of Rocky Mountain National Park. Okay, so to get to Chasm Falls, it's less than a half a mile. It's a pretty easy little trail that goes down to a viewing area. And again, like I really like this waterfall. I think it's super pretty. But I think just getting to it, the experience of getting to it along the Old Fall River Road is really a highlight for me. And so the Old Fall River Road, what it is it's actually the original road that went into Rocky Mountain National Park and took you up into those higher elevation areas. And so they had this road before the Trail Ridge Road was done, and it's amazing actually. It's pretty narrow. It wasn't built for like the big cars that we have nowadays. But so it's a one-way road that goes up into the high elevations of the park and eventually ends up at the Alpine Visitor Center. And so it's a really cool road. It's dirt, but typically good for most vehicles. And you just drive along this road and it's a quieter experience. It's a little bit more intimate. You will pass Chasm Falls along the way, which is really cool. But I love being in this area of Rocky. Okay, so to get to Chasm Falls, you're gonna stay up here on kind of this northern highway that goes into Rocky. And then the road will change to dirt once you leave the alluvial fan area. And as you get into here, then it changes to dirt. And this is a one-way only road. You can't go down this road. You have to approach it from this side and go up. And then you'll hit Chasm Falls right here pretty early on. And then you keep just working your way up into the mountains up in here. And so it's just really cool. It is dirt all this way, and then you get up to the Alpine Visitor Center where then you'll hit the pavement and then you can drive back down along the Trail Ridge Road. You will want to note that the Old Fall River Road is not open for very long. And so it typically opens like the beginning of July and then closes again in September. You really only have a couple months to get up in there, but it is worth it if you visit the park during those months. Okay, number 7, the Holzwarth Historic Site. Now we're heading over to the other side of the park where it's a little bit quieter, a little less visited. But over here, there's actually an old dude ranch that has been turned into a museum of sorts that you can walk through and learn more about. And so that's the Holzwarth Historic Site. I really love coming here. There's some fun things you can do, and my kids really love it. So definitely add this to your list of things to do. The Holzwarth Historic Site has a really interesting history. You get a nice glimpse into the past life of the homesteaders in the area. There's activities that you can do. You can tour a couple of buildings. You can wear a buffalo coat. You can learn how to wash clothes. You can rope a steer. They have like horns and antlers you can touch. Like it's a really fun interactive stop, and you get to learn something new about the Rocky Mountain area. I also love visiting the Holzwarth site because I feel like the volunteers that work here are some of the best, and they're really fun to talk to. They know a lot of the history. They can answer a lot of your questions about the park. And so it's just all around a really fun place to stop. To get to the Holzwarth site, especially if you're coming from over here near Estes Park, you'll go up and over the Trail Ridge Road and you'll go over to the west side of the park. And then you will find the Holzwarth Historic Site right here near the Timber Creek Campground. This is a little bit unique. Like you'll park out here and then you do have to walk out to the site. If there's someone on duty, then they do have carts to take you if you're handicapped or if you need help getting out there. But plan on walking out to the site and enjoying the activities for a little while. Number 8, Bierstadt Lake. This is a less popular option for a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know this lake is here or wouldn't take the time to hike to it. But I really love this lake because hiking here is a very peaceful experience in an otherwise extremely busy part of the park. And I love the lake, how it reflects the mountain peaks behind it. It's just a great place to find solitude. I love coming here during the fall to see fall colors. It's one of my favorite spots. And it's just an all-around really nice hike that a lot of people don't know about. This trail does have a lot of switchbacks, and so it can feel a little grueling. But there is actually a back way to get to Bierstadt Lake if you leave from Bear Lake, and that's the way that I like to go. Bierstadt Lake is just a really picturesque part of the Bear Lake area, and I really like being in this area during the fall especially. There's a lot of aspens that change color. You get some fantastic views as you're going down the switchbacks of the mountains in this area. And so I really love this lake just as a way to find some nice solitude and have a good experience in one of the busiest parts of the park. The trail to Bierstadt Lake is about 2.5 miles round trip. You do gain a fair amount of elevation if you go up the switchbacks, but there are a few different ways to hike this trail. So looking at the map, Bierstadt Lake is located along the Bear Lake Road, and so you'll hit the trailhead right before you get to Glacier Gorge and Bear Lake. And if you leave from this trailhead, this is where you'll just go up and up and up switchbacks and then eventually get to the lake here. There is an alternative, and this is the way that I really like to do it, is I will park at Bear Lake, and then you can take this trail kind of the back way around to Bierstadt Lake. There is a trail there, and then you can go down the switchbacks. So that's a really nice option. And then from there, when you get to this Bierstadt Lake trailhead, there is a shuttle stop here, and so you can catch the shuttle and take the shuttle back up to Bear Lake where your car is. So that's my preferred way of hiking this trail. I feel like it cuts down on a lot of the difficulty of the trail and really gives you a nice experience kind of beyond Bear Lake and beyond where most people are. Number 9, the Alpine Visitor Center. The Alpine Visitor Center is the highest visitor center in any national park. So that just automatically makes it super cool. You're at a very high elevation at this visitor center. It has a nice deck that you can overlook the mountains from there. There's a hiking trail that you can do. You can get cinnamon rolls here. So I love stopping in here as I'm driving along the Trail Ridge Road. The Alpine Visitor Center, because of where it's located and the elevation, it is not open year-round, and it does have limited hours, especially during the shoulder season. So you'll definitely want to check the Rocky website to just make sure that you know that it's going to be open while you're there. But when you get here, it's just a really fun stop. There's a nice gift shop. Again, there's like a little restaurant, and they do have cinnamon rolls that are really good. You can walk to the top of the hill and get some really cool pictures. So it's a fun stop along the Trail Ridge Road. To get to the Alpine Visitor Center, you can drive the Trail Ridge Road either from Estes Park or Grand Lake. It's pretty much in the middle here. You'll hit the highest point of the Trail Ridge Road here, and the road will kind of start to go down. So you're at a slightly lower elevation than the highest point, but you're still very high up in that tundra area, and it's really fun to be in the highest visitor center in the Park Service. Number 10, the Coyote Valley Nature Trail. So I'm taking you back to the west side of the park, which again is the quieter side. There's just not as many people, not as many like big epic hiking trails on this side, but there are some really nice places to stop. So I like the Coyote Valley Nature Trail because it's mostly flat and easy. It follows the Colorado River, which is really cool. This is a part of the park where you are pretty likely to see moose, and so it's a nice option for getting out, stretching your feet, and hopefully seeing something cool. There are interpretive signs and benches along the way. It's just a really casual, peaceful experience along this trail, and so I really like spending time over here on this side of the park while I'm here, just so that I don't feel like I'm stuck in crowds all the time. So looking at the map, the Coyote Valley Nature Trail is on the west side of the park over here, and so you'll just drive up from Grand Lake and you'll hit the trailhead right here. Number 11, Bear Lake. So no list of things to do in Rocky would be complete without including Bear Lake. It is the busiest area of the park. There are a lot of people who want to come and hang out in this area. Bear Lake itself is just really nice. It's really pretty. It has cool views of Hallett Peak behind it. You can walk around the lake. It's a nice nature trail that goes around the lake. This is also the starting point for a lot of longer trails and more popular trails, such as Emerald Lake, which I mentioned before. This is also, a lot of people come to this area to access, Alberta Falls and other trails in the Glacier Gorge area. You'll definitely want to plan some time at Bear Lake while you're in Rocky. So again, coming up to Bear Lake, there's just so much to do in this area. So you'll definitely want to make your way up here. Even if you don't really plan on hiking around the lake or anything, chances are that something that you have been wanting to do in Rocky Mountain does start from this area. It is a really nice little trail that goes around the lake for everybody. It is partially wheelchair accessible, which is nice. And then again, there's just a lot of other things that you can do after you've soaked in the views at Bear Lake. Bear Lake is located at the end of the Bear Lake Road. So you'll come in here, this is the Bear Lake Road here, and you'll come all the way to the end and there's parking here. Now, I do just want to mention that this Bear Lake Road area is where Rocky Mountain offers a free shuttle. And so you can either they have shuttle stops out here at the visitor center, or you can come in and park at the park and ride and catch the shuttle out to here. This area of the park is extremely congested. It fills up really fast. It can be so hard to get parking. And so if you are planning on coming out here and you're just not wanting to deal with all the parking and congestion issues, the shuttle is a really good option for that. But you will also want to note that the parking area for the park and ride and things like that actually does fill up pretty early too. And so it can be hard to even get a parking space just to catch the shuttle. So keep that in mind. But again, if you're hoping to get to Bear Lake, you can either try your luck at getting a parking spot right there at the trailhead, or you can take the free park shuttle. The last thing that you definitely don't want to miss on your first visit to Rocky Mountain is Adams Falls. So I'm taking you back over to the west side. I really think that it's important to spend at least a little bit of time on that west side of the park so that you can find some solitude and some peace. But Adams Falls is a really fun little waterfall that you can hike to. It's pretty easy and it's just a really nice area of Rocky. Adams Falls is about a 55-foot waterfall. It plunges down into a narrow gorge. And again, this is an area that's really good for keeping your eyes peeled to see moose. There are a couple of really cool spots that I like in this area as well that I include in my itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes that will take you to some even cooler places near the falls. Otherwise, if you're just wanting to see the falls, it's less than a mile round trip. It is a pretty easy hike. Looking at the map, so you're on the west side of the park, and you actually, to get to Adams Falls, you drive out of the park, you go through the town of Grand Lake, and then you come over here to the East Inlet Trailhead, and then that's where you'll hike to Adams Falls. So it's really fun actually to be on this side of the park and to go to Adams Falls, but then also to stop in Grand Lake for a minute. It's a cute little town right on a big, beautiful lake. It's got some fun little souvenir shops. It's got a couple of quaint restaurants. It's a totally different feel than Estes Park on the other side of Rocky. And so that's why I like to include Adams Falls on my list of things to do, because I do think it's worth coming down to this side of the park and seeing this other entrance and this other town and giving you a completely different experience. And there you have it, the 12 things that you need to do in Rocky Mountain, especially as a first-time visitor. Here are my favorite things to do. And again, you're covering all the main areas of the park, and doing some great hiking, seeing some fantastic views. Keep your eyes peeled for wildlife as you're out there. And I just hope that you have a fantastic trip to Colorado, and more specifically to beautiful Rocky Mountain National Park.